Let's briefly talk about software-defined networking. Software-defined networking, or SDN, is a type of centralized network management that is dynamic and programmable. It separates the data that is transmitted by network devices from the administration of those devices. This can be helpful in a network that has many switches and routers. SDN is used to aid with traffic engineering, routing, switching, monitoring, load balancing, and security. In a network that uses SDN, there is a separate system known as a controller, and this talks to all the routers and switches and other network devices. The SDN is broken down into two sections, the data plane and the control plane. The data plane is this black arrow that you see here, and that is where the packets are flowing through the various network devices, switches, routers, and so on. Those packets can be manipulated by the SDN controller. And the SDN controller does this by way of the control plane. These dotted lines represent the control plane to each of these network devices. This could be done on a separate network, and it allows for the separation of data and administration. Ultimately, the SDN approach deals less with individual protocols on individual devices and more with the SDN controller's instructions that are sent to those devices. The controller tells routers and switches what to do with particular types of packets, applying rules as set by the admin of that controller. So the administrator of the controller sets the rules. For example, an admin might set a rule for a switch that has a specific IP address. Perhaps this switch over here has the IP address 10.0.0.1. This is known as a match. And the admin on that SDN controller might state that there is a rule saying that this switch should drop a certain type of packet. So maybe it says drop all ICMP packets. So any types of ping commands, ICMP echoes and replies, are going to be dropped from that particular switch. So the rule specifies that certain packets are dropped. This is the action taken, and this eliminates that type of packet from being forwarded by that switch. You can also use SDN software to more efficiently control large numbers of virtual machines and categorize them within virtual LANs, allowing them to be grouped and administered easily, even if they are physically moved. And this makes the network more agile. The most commonly known SDN protocol is the OpenFlow protocol, which is open source, meaning anyone can use it. Although companies such as Cisco have entered the market with their own proprietary SDN solutions. Remember that in SDN, there is a controller, a server or a virtual machine, or perhaps a container, and that controller manages your various network devices, routers, switches, and so on. Know also that there is a control plane, and that is the network connections for the management of those network devices to and from the SDN controller, and then the actual data plane, which is where the actual packets of data are being sent, all the other data on the network. And ultimately, the SDN allows for the efficient transmission of data packets.